Hello, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to your weather forecast. Mr. G back with you again one more time on your Friday evening. I hope you guys had a great week and a great weekend coming up. I'm going to be here for you with those weather forecast videos all weekend long. Get you ready for your week next week and upcoming Labor Day weekend. We're going to be talking about that weather forecast when we get closer to that point. And right now we are outside at Midway Airport in Chicago, Illinois, where it is a beautiful day. Look at the sun shining all across the Midwest. It is 77 degrees with much lower humidities. They had that frontal boundary come through last night. We saw big thunderstorms over parts of the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes, especially over Indiana and into Ohio and Michigan. We saw very powerful thunderstorms overnight last night. The lightning was out of control. I really don't like people filming thunderstorms at night or people who are not weather savvy, because some of the comments I hear on TikTok or YouTube or whatever from amateurs or people who don't understand why it was so much lightning. When you have a negatively charged storm, you tend to see a lot more lightning strikes with that. And there's a lot more cloud to cloud lightning or lightning within the clouds or and things like that. So, and it's just an excessive amount of lightning. You tend to see that when you have very hot air being displaced by much cooler air. That interaction in that storm, those updrafts and downdrafts, makes for a highly charged environment, and those collisions with those electrons hitting each other and creating a static charge, you tend to see more lightning in those situations. And that's one of the reasons why there was unusual amounts of lightning. I think there was even some ball lightning spotted last night as well, so which is very rare, and we're not 100% sure what exactly causes ball lightning. Maybe that's something I can study in grad school, all right, to get my doctorate degree. But yeah, I think there was some ball lightning reported last night as well. So we saw a very exciting evening across the Midwest last night. Power was knocked out to about 850,000 customers across Ohio and Michigan. I think we're starting to get some of that power back on for some of these folks right now. There was a few reported tornadoes, but not confirmed yet by the National Weather Service. There were some reported tornadoes, a lot of straight line winds. We saw a lot of hail, very heavy rainfall. Some places picked up 3 or 4 inches of rain. So a very interesting night across the upper Midwest and the eastern Great Lakes. Especially in Michigan and Ohio, we saw those severe thunderstorms roll through about 9-10 o'clock last night. So enough about that, and let's talk about the weather forecast coming up for the weekend in the rest of the country, as well as to look at the tropics. All right, the last part, the beginning of the video, was at O'Hare. At Midway, I didn't get to see any planes take off. No planes took off? All right, that would have been cool. I guess not. No planes, no love right there. We've been pretty awesome for the video to get some shots of some aircraft taking off. We saw cars driving by. But anyway, let's talk about that weather forecast. We're going to be dealing with the heat across the South, but much improving weather conditions across the eastern U.S., the Northeast, the Great Lakes, and the upper Midwest and the northern plains. We're seeing improving weather conditions as far as the heat and humidity. Those thunderstorms came through last night, really cooled a lot of folks down, took a lot of a bite out of that air. So much better weather conditions today across the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest and into parts of the Northeast. So let's take a look at our first map. This is some of those thunderstorms that we saw overnight last night across the Great Lakes. So we saw that in Michigan and in southern Ontario as well. Those thunderstorms sagged down south and made their way into parts of Ohio as well. Here near Cleveland, we saw those severe thunderstorms last night, and we had reports of some tornadoes, lots of hail, some lightning, lots of lightning. The lightning was off the charts, and it freaked a lot of people out, but I wish people would settle down and stop with the conspiracy theories out there. A lot of idiots, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of these idiots surround themselves with the weather. I don't understand, but all right. So anyway, that is a look at some of those very bad thunderstorms across the upper Midwest. Here is our culprit for some of those thunderstorms that we are seeing out there. Excuse me, I thought I can make it through without coughing. But anyway, here is our cold front. We got an area of low pressure there in the over the northeast, and then we have another one here over Iowa, and then another one back there off toward the west. These are called these weak areas of low pressure are called short waves. So we do have several short wave areas of low pressure that will enhance thunderstorm activity and increase rainfall rates and produce some instances of severe weather that we're going to be seeing across the upper Midwest, through parts of the Northeast and the West out there. But this is our heat dome across the South, and we still have another day today, Friday night, to get through. We're going to be looking at the heat from southern Illinois, southern Iowa, through Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. Mr. G knows states. See, I'm good at geography. Yeah, that's right. What's up? What's up? So anyway, these here are heat records of heat that's going to be broken today. Okay, so very hot out there across the South once again, but it's going to cool down for a lot of you. Just hang in there. We're going to see those temperatures fall over the next couple days. By the end of the weekend, we're going to be having some nice weather out there, except for the folks along the immediate Gulf Coast. The further south you are, we're not going to quite get it to you if you're at the Gulf Coast. But we are going to be watching the tropics for the potential for a tropical system in the Gulf of Mexico this weekend, possibly. It's about a 70% chance for some development that might hit somewhere here across North Florida. So Panama Beach, Panama City, Tampa, Clearwater. We'll see. Keeping an eye on the tropics. Here is our cold front. These weak areas of low pressure, that's dropping down to the south. That's going to be suppressing some of that heat and humidity, pushing it back down toward the Gulf of Mexico. Unfortunately, Texas is going to keep the heat on for now. And this is your Sunday. Drops a little bit further to the south. Now it drops south of Arkansas down to Louisiana and maybe in through extreme North Texas. Maybe start to see some decrease in humidity, lowering temperatures as well. But we start to see that front make it down into the south. So maybe halfway through Mississippi and Alabama. Maybe a quarter of the way through Georgia, north of Atlanta. Unfortunately, Atlanta stays south of the front on Sunday. And then on Monday, look at this. Now, we finally get to break that dome down. We got a cold front. Yay! That's making it all the way down to the south, near the Gulf Coast. So New Orleans, unfortunately, Houston, you guys going to stay, at least in the upper 90s, near 100. Mobile, Alabama, Gulfport, Mississippi, Tallahassee, Florida. We got Panama City Beach, Clearwater, Tampa. Y'all going to stay hot as the hubs of hell over the weekend and into Monday. But it is nice to finally see some cooler weather move into Texas. We're going to see that front drop down into Dallas, Fort Worth, maybe close to Austin. We might see some cooler temperatures. We're going to see some thunderstorms as well. So watch for afternoon and evening thunderstorms along this cold front. Where these areas of low pressure, look for those thunderstorms to be a little bit stronger, maybe some severe thunderstorms as well that could produce some hail, damaging winds, and don't forget possibility of tornadoes with some of those storms as well. And here we are as we take a look at those temperatures that we are going to be seeing highs into the weekend for your Friday and Saturday. So Memphis, Tennessee, we're going to see that 98, 100. We got that 108, 106 for you folks in Dallas, Fort Worth. Houston, we'll see 102, 103. Upper 90s down there in Atlanta. The same for you in Florida. Mid 90s there in the mid-Atlantic states. 102. But look how much that temperature drops on Sunday. Friday, 102 today, but 89 tomorrow, because that front has passed through, and you're going to see those humidities come down as well. Look at Wichita, 103 today, 91 tomorrow. So improving, and it's going to be even cooler still on Sunday. So we're going to see temperatures drop down into the 70s across much of the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast. It's going to be beautiful, right? In time for school to start up. Kids going back to school. I'm in my fall semester, just starting, so it's going to be. I do my stuff online, so I don't have to worry about going out in the weather. But I do have to go to my office for work though, and that kind of sucked. And I wish I worked from home like I did back in COVID. So, but anyway, here is that hot ass weather. Now these are heat indexes. These are not the actual temperatures, but this is what it feels like. So it might as well be. Because you got humidity and temperatures about 98 degrees, it feels like 113. So we got to see 113 when Little Rock, Arkansas, hottest blazes, Shreveport, Louisiana, again, triple digit heat indexes in the teens. Still in Dallas, Fort Worth, even though the temperatures are going to start to drop, still 110, 109 for those heat indexes this weekend, until that front passes your area, can sweep out some of that humidity. The humidity is the biggest culprit, and the humidity really affects the temperature a lot. And sorry about that. Mr. G is still sick. This is my dedication to y'all, because I got nothing but love for you. I've been sick as a dog, and I'm up here giving y'all this weather forecast, so you better show me some love in the comment section. Say thank you, brother, for doing what you do, right? Show some appreciation. Let me know what's happening where you live and how you feeling today, all right? But anyway, this is that heat. 113, look at that, but it drops to 94 on Saturday. Still hot, still humid, but I'm telling you, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. Just hang in there a couple more days as that front drops to the south and makes its way almost to the Gulf Coast. Almost, man. It gets to within 100 miles of the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, dang, we couldn't get it past Houston and New Orleans. They've been suffering all summer. It sucked. But anyway, bro, here is the temperatures in forecast. I'm going to step off so you can see this whole map. Let me move this thing out the way. I'm going to step off the camera so that you can see. Let me not knock this light over. So here is the temperatures that we are going to be looking at into next week. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, what is it? Look. Sunday and Monday, 70s in Chicago. Look at that. 70s in the Northeast in Cleveland. We're going to see 87 down in Wichita. 96, still going to be hot, but much better. Much better in Texas. Much better in Memphis. It's been in the triple digits in Memphis. St. Louis is up to Atlanta. Going to see everything getting better. A lot less humidity. A little bit cooler. So that is great news. And there's the culprit. Is this stupid area of high pressure right here. This big dome of high pressure has been sitting there for weeks in the nation. Excuse me. In the center of the country. And we've had this big bastard just hanging out right here, sweating everybody out, putting people in the hospital with heat strokes and heat exhaustion. This bastard has been nothing but a problem. But we finally got that cold front to push him out the way. It's shoving him back to the West Coast. This guy is going to end up back over the Southwest where it belongs. But it don't belong here. Not anymore. We're tired of this now. So anyway, say bye-bye to this high pressure. But eventually he will slide back to the east. So I'm just going to let you know that. But just enjoy a brief respite. But with that respite is going to bring with it a change in the tropics. Now we have Tropical Storm Franklin now that is going to become a hurricane eventually here, maybe within the next 24 hours. We got winds at 60 miles an hour, maybe 24 to 36 hours. We're going to see a Category 1 hurricane. It's going to be the first hurricane of the Atlantic, and it is just moving to the near San Juan, Puerto Rico, and it's going to be moving north. It's going to skirt by Bermuda, so they're going to get some rain and some winds, but this is our cone of uncertainty here. So this means that this tropical storm or hurricane, whatever it decides to be, can be anywhere in between this region right here, this big red spot. All of this is our cone of uncertainty that the forecast models is saying these are the tracks. It takes a consensus of different models, and based on what they say, this is where the storm could end up. So it could hit Bermuda, or it could be way over here, but it will do one thing, is increase the swells off the Atlantic coast. So the mid-Atlantic, so the seas are going to get kind of rough, kind of choppy, and it's going to be a little bit hard for people with small pleasure boats. So if you got a little fishing boat and you like to go out on the ocean, or you got the little, what they call those stupid boats they like to drive here in Minnesota. I hate these boats. These are the crappiest boats ever. I always see families on them. What pontoons? So if you're a stupid idiot with a pontoon, you deserve to be tossed around out there on that open Atlantic. So anyway, but that's going to be the effects of this guy. I don't think it's going to hit the U.S., but it might bring some rainfall to Newfoundland. It could be an issue for Newfoundland next week as it makes its way toward the northeast, head out towards Greenland and the open Atlantic, okay? And then here's what we're going to be seeing. We have early next week, this is our Franklin right there. It's going to be passing Bermuda to the north, headed off to the northeast. It's going to increase the swells. You see that? That's all the wave action that we're going to see. So we're going to be seeing a nice northeast wave action coming into the northeast and the mid-Atlantic. So New York City, Boston, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, the inner harbor, going to be a little bit choppy there, okay? Okay, so now we got this guy in the Gulf of Mexico potentially. We got a tropical wave down there just off the Yucatan Peninsula, right about here near Cancun. And it's going to be moving a little bit to the north. Either way, it's going to make some rain for Florida. But what we're watching for is tropical development, and we have a lot of wind shear. There's kind of a wind shear, and we're going to talk about that wind shear in just a moment, and why we're seeing an uptick in the sudden explosion of tropical systems in the Atlantic. But notice one thing about the systems that are developing in the Atlantic. None of them have been particularly eager to develop into a tropical storm or hurricane. They've kind of been barely hanging on, very weak, unorganized tropical depressions maybe. But that's, we're going to talk about kind of why that is. So, and El Nino is part of it, where we got a 70% chance of further development over the next 7 days. There is about a 30% chance of further development over the next 2 days. My camera's getting blurry. What's up? Come on, straighten up, camera. I didn't spend money for you to be blurring and crap. Okay, so we got increasing confidence that tropical storm will form in the Gulf of Mexico. And then we're going to watch the future track, and strength is uncertain because it's a good chance. I think it will hit Florida, maybe near north of Tampa, Clearwater, Tallahassee, but it's going to at least bring some heavy rain. So heavy rain is going to be possible, flooding for Florida early next week, whether it's a tropical storm, hurricane, or not. No matter what, there's a storm system that's going to bring some rain to Florida. It's going to rain hard, and whether or not you see winds is going to determine what actually happens. I don't think it's going to be a hurricane. If it develops tropical depression, tropical storm, if it makes a hurricane, it's going to blow my mind because that's been a struggle. It's been a real struggle to buy a hurricane in the Atlantic or the Gulf of Mexico because that wind shear. The wind shear has been very bad. Tropical storms do not like wind shear. What is wind shear, Mr. G? Well, Mr. G going to tell you what wind shear is. Okay, hurricanes and tropical storms like a calm environment. They typically form underneath upper level areas of high pressure. The Bermuda High is a perfect example. It's a large area of high pressure that expands pretty much the central Atlantic. So what happens is around the periphery of that dome of high pressure is what we call a dirty ridge. A dirty ridge is an elevated ridge that allows clouds to form down near the surface or the mid-levels of the atmosphere. So about 10,000 feet or lower, clouds can form. You can get thunderstorms, but they can break through what's called a cap if you get a strong enough updraft, and they can break through that even underneath the ridge of high pressure. So the tropical storms like that. But if there is a front in the area that changes the wind's direction, or another upper level, a mid-level low pressure, basically a non-tropical system, those systems tend to produce a lot of mid-level and upper-level strong winds that shear apart their circulation, because tropical storms and hurricanes, their counterclockwise circulation, or is at the surface, not in the upper levels like mid-latitude storms. These are surface-based storms. So if there's a lot of wind shear going in the opposite direction of their circulation, that pulls them apart. So they have a harder time of wrapping themselves up in those thunderstorms and that moisture, because those winds blowing in the opposite direction is kind of pulling them apart. It's like unraveling a cinnamon roll. That's a good example. Good. Yeah, Mr. G, there you go. Unraveling the cinnamon roll is basically what happens. And they don't like that at all. That goes against their interests. So anyway, that's what we are seeing is a lot of shear this year. So we've had a lot of false starts for tropical systems. We got about 4 babies out there in the Atlantic right now. So we have this guy right here. This is going to produce a lot of heavy rain. We're going to see thunderstorms. You will see that rain. We're going to pick up several inches of rain in Florida. No doubt about that. The question is what it's going to be. Is it a tropical storm, tropical depression, hurricane, what? I mean, I don't think we're going to get a hurricane. Too much going against it because of that cold front to the north. That cold front that's dropping down over the southern U.S. is making wind shear. It's making shear because along that cold front, the wind is doing what? Along the south, driving from the southwest along the parallel with that cold front. It's going this way. Which direction does storms rotate? They go like this. If any wind's going this way, this is going against this. It's going to go like this. Whoop, pulling that out because those winds along that cold front is making wind shear. So that's why I don't think we're going to see a hurricane. No. We might see a very weak tropical depression. I'm going to give it that. That's Mr. G's forecast. No hurricane, no tropical storm, tropical depression. Franklin might make a hurricane. It's going to be a weak hurricane, category 1. It's not popping like it is in the Pacific. Now, the Pacific is popping. The Pacific is popping. Oh, I got to make a comment because there are idiots on TikTok trying to say that there is another potential tropical storm in California over the Labor Day weekend. That is absolutely false. Please stop spreading that lie. I look at the GFS and the European models, the NOM, the HRR. I look at models all day. I haven't seen it. Please show me where you're seeing this in the models. No tropical storm expected off the coast of California over the holiday weekend. Shut up with that mess. Please stop. This is irresponsible. You are not a trained meteorologist, so shut the F up with that. Stop. All right, so here's the next map. All right, here's our little buddies out across the Gulf. We had Harold, which is no more. Harold went bye-bye because it crashed into the Gulf of into Mexico and southern Texas. Here is Franklin. There is Gert, tropical depression, tropical storm Gert, tropical depression Emily. There's Emily out there. Now, Emily is just out here wandering around in circles. Gert is kind of going to go a little bit to the north and northwest. This guy, he might have the best chance of becoming something. The best chance, and again, I said he gone. Harold is gone. So, all right, so we have what's called the Madden-Julian oscillation. The Madden-Julian oscillation is the reason why we're struggling to buy a hurricane in the Atlantic and in the Gulf and the Caribbean this year. Excuse me. What is happening is we have a pool of cool air in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And what that is doing is making it easier for thunderstorms to form. We're getting the thunderstorms. So we got rising air. That rising air increases thunderstorm activity because that cold air in the upper levels of the atmosphere destabilizes the atmosphere. So we got a lot of instability across the central Atlantic and the Caribbean Sea. So, well, that's what you need to get hurricanes. You need to get that thunderstorms. But it's a lot of wind shear. So even though we're seeing a nice uptick in activity, if we didn't have that wind shear, we'd have hurricanes all over the Atlantic right now. It would be a bad hurricane season. We would have a lot of problems to worry about if it wasn't for that wind shear. Guess what's causing the wind shear? El Nino. El Nino is contributing to the wind shear, so it's kind of canceling out the Madden-Julian oscillation. See, I am a trained meteorologist. So all you guys that talk all that stuff on TikTok and YouTube, please stop. Please stop and get your education like I'm doing. Please, please. I've been seeing it so much lately. I'm so angry. I'm very, very angry about the misinformation and the stupidity from people who are out there online right now just trying to get views. So we're about to wrap this up. We're about done. So we have this is the other part. See, now we get the tropical waves forming from that increase in humidity and instability. So now we have a tropical wave. But we have the wind shear. See these winds in the direction of the movement of the wave? It generally moves from east to the west. Okay? Moves across the Caribbean into Cuba, Dominican Republic, Haiti, moves into the Gulf of Mexico. Typically, these are from the Cape Verde. A lot of these travel all the way across the Atlantic and into the Gulf of Mexico. Some of them move into Central America. They move across the intercontinental excuse me. They move across the intertropical convergence zone. The intertropical convergence zone are where trade winds meet. You have a northeasterly trade and you got a southeasterly trade. And they merge together. And where they merge coming from the northeast and the southeast is our convergence zone. Why? Because we have two air masses, wind masses, converging together. They're not overtaking each other. There's about equal pressure on both sides. So it just creates that stream of thunderstorms you always see wrapped around the planet, around the tropics. That's the ICTZ. And these guys get caught up in that wind shear, so the wave struggles to completely wrap itself up into a low-level circulation. That's what the Madden-Julian oscillation is. A little bit of meteorology 101 for you guys. So with the El Nino, we got that wind shear. Like I said, strong upper level winds shear off cloud tops. You see that? Boom. Shear. So you got the low level direction of the storm, but the winds aloft are in the opposite direction. Wind shear. Tornadoes like that crap, but hurricanes don't. Okay, so there you go. That's why we're struggling to buy a hurricane in the Caribbean. That is your weather forecast from a very angry and irritated Mr. G because of stupidity on YouTube and a lot of conspiracy theorists coming up now, getting 100,000. Mr. G, I'm a hard-working man here. I'm struggling to get views, but you got people saying stupid stuff that are getting 1 million views. I don't understand what I got to do. So anyway, I'm going to keep at it. Mr. G going to keep the faith, and we're going to keep pushing. And I will see you guys tomorrow because I'm pretty sure the weather ain't going to change that much. But, I got nothing but love for you, and we're going to talk about it anyway. Have a good night. I'm going to get some fried chicken for dinner. So you guys have a great one. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.